If your graduation was today, would you be ready for an interview tomorrow? Motivation may get you started. Habits are what gets you hired. Knowing that your degree opens the door, your daily habits determine whether you walk through it and whether that door stays open. You got good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining me from across Kenya, across Africa, or wherever in the world you're watching. Welcome back to Muraya Career Lab, a platform where we give you HR insights and career growth tips. And if you're a final year student, if you've just graduated, or if you're wondering why finding a job feels harder than earning a degree, then this masterclass is for you. Today, I'm not here to motivate you, I'm here to prepare you because the truth is, motivation may get you started, habits are what gets you hired. So, let's dive into today's series and let me begin with a reality check that may surprise most of you. Every year, universities across Africa produce millions of graduates, yet many employers consistently report that they struggle to find candidates who are truly job ready. Think about that for a moment. Thousands of graduates, hundreds of applications, dozens of interviews, yet many talented young people spend months or even years searching for job opportunities for their first even opportunity and they don't get to find it. Here's the difficult truth: it isn't always because there aren't jobs. Often it's because graduates and employers are solving two different problems. Universities ask, can this student pass exams? While the employers ask, can this person solve problems? Those are not the same questions. Let me ask you something. If your graduation was today, would you be ready for an interview tomorrow? Would your LinkedIn profile impress a recruiter? Or would your CV make it through an applicant tracking system? Could you even confidently explain what value you bring to an organization beyond the degree you hold? If those questions make you uncomfortable, stay with me because for the next 1 hour, I'm gonna share 5 habits that separate graduates who wait for opportunities from graduates who create the opportunities. And here's my promise from me to you: if you consistently practice these habits, not occasionally but on a daily basis, you will dramatically improve your chances of securing internships, interviews, and employment even before graduation. So grab your notebook, silence your distractions, because this isn't just another career talk. It's a transition blueprint. And stay until the end because habit number 5 is what will help you and has helped many graduates receive interview invitations even before they walked across the graduation stage. Before we continue, tell me in the comments below what year you're in. Are you a final year? Are you a recent graduate? Or already working but looking to forward to grow? I'd love to know where you are and where you're joining us from. And if you're committed to taking your career seriously, hit that like button and subscribe button and the notification bell as well. So let's have this message reach other students who need it and who might benefit from this masterclass video. Let me introduce it to you two students. They aren't specific people I know of, but they might be a reflection of thousands of graduates I've met over the years. So let's call them Brian and Amina. Both attended the same university, both studied HR, that is Human Resource Management, and both graduated with second class, upper, or even first class. They are intelligent, hardworking, and they both dream of working for a multinational company. On paper, they are almost identical. But 6 months after graduation, their lives look completely different. Shocked? Here's why. Brian believes one thing: my grades will speak for themselves. So throughout university, he focused entirely on exams. He rarely attended career events. He never updated his LinkedIn profile. He only has one CV, and he sends the same generic CV to every employer he gets a job opportunity to apply to. He never learned any other skill beyond classroom assignments. He didn't even volunteer. He assumed opportunities will come directly to him after graduation. Shock, graduation arrives, months pass, he applies, nothing. Applies again, nothing. Again and again and again. Eventually, he begins asking himself this question: what's wrong with the job market? On the other hand, we have Amina. Um, She studied just as hard as Brian did, but she understood something important, and it was something different than Brian did. Employability is a skill, and every single day she spent at most 30 minutes improving herself. She learned extra skills. She built her LinkedIn profile. She attended webinars, volunteered at HR events, connected with recruiters, interviewers. She even did mock interviews. Shocking? She built a small online portfolio. By graduation, she did not just have her degree alone, she had enough evidence of her skill. Within weeks after graduation, interview invitations began arriving. Not because she was lucky, but because she was intentional with her whole journey. Now, here's my question to you, my viewer, today. Who do you think employers noticed first? Is it Brian or Amina? Exactly. The same question or answer you have is the same as I have. Because employers don't recruit for potential alone, they recruit for preparation. Are you prepared for that job you want to go into? And here's something I've observed after working with graduates and employers, and many students only prepare for graduation. Very few prepare for employment. Those are completely different goals. Graduation is an event. Employment is a process. One happens in a day, the other is built over months and at times even years of intentional growth. If you're waiting until your final exams are over before thinking about your career, you are already behind. Not because you're incapable, but because the recruitment process often starts long before graduation. And many internship pipelines, graduate trainee programs, leadership programs, and entry level opportunities begin accepting applications months before students graduate. And by the time you decide to apply, someone else has already been preparing for a year. That's the advantage we are going to build together in this masterclass series. And I hope you do have your notebook and some snacks because this is an awesome series. Here's one thing I want us to address: your degree alone is not enough. It is the elephant in the room, and many of us grew up hearing the same advice: study hard, get good grades, graduate, get a job. And for decades, that pathway worked for many people. But the world of work has changed a lot, and the pace of things and change in the workplace is accelerating. Today, employers are looking beyond your transcripts. They are asking deeper questions. Can you communicate effectively? Can you adapt to new technologies? Can you collaborate with diverse teams? Can you even solve real world problems? Can you learn quickly? Can you use AI responsibly? Can you work with data? Can you lead when no one is watching? These are the questions shaping modern recruitment. Your degree is still valuable and valid because it demonstrates commitment, foundational knowledge, and perseverance. But it is no longer the only signal employers rely on. Recruiters increasingly assess practical experience, digital skills, online presence, portfolios, internships, extracurricular leadership, and evidence that you can apply what you learned in school in real world settings. Things about Think about it this way: a degree tells an employer what you studied, but your habits tell them who you are becoming, and in a rapidly changing workplace, who you are becoming often matters just as much as what you have already achieved. So begin with the first habit. Habit number one: learn something employers actually pay for. And in my opinion, this is where most graduates unintentionally lose opportunities. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they aren't hardworking, but because they are investing their time in skills the market isn't actively rewarding. Here's a question I'll ask you. If I gave you 100,000 Kenyan shillings today and told you to invest it wisely, would you spend it on something nobody wants to buy? Of course not. You'd invest where there is demand. Now let me ask a different question entirely. Every day you wake up with 24 hours on your hand. Where are you investing them? Because your time is your most valuable currency. And employers don't just pay for the degrees, they pay for value. Employers pay for problems solved, not degrees alone, not certificates alone, not GPA alone. They pay for skills, solutions, productivity, results, and a problem solver. So if you're not meeting this, you are in trouble. And from a recruiter's perspective, allow me to share something from the HR desk. Imagine a recruiter receiving 500 applications for one graduate trainee role. Almost every applicant has a degree. Many have similar grades. Some even attended the same university. So, how do I decide who moves to the interview stage and who doesn't? The recruiter begins by looking for signals that tell them this candidate can contribute to what the organization is working towards from day one. Maybe one applicant mentioned advanced Excel, another built dashboards in Power BI, someone else automated a reporting process using artificial intelligence, another managed a university project using project management software. Those aren't just skills, they are evidence. Evidence reduces uncertainty, and recruitment is often about reducing uncertainty. The more evidence you provide that you can perform, the easier it becomes for an employer to say, let's invite this person for an interview. So, do you have those extra skills? And what are you working towards getting in your plate today for employment? And as I told you earlier, the world has changed. Think about how quickly the workplace is evolving. Artificial intelligence is transforming how companies recruit, communicate, analyze data, serve customers, and even how they automate their processes. Cloud softwares allow teams to work from anywhere. Routine tasks are increasingly automated, and the graduates who thrive won't necessarily be the ones who know the most. They'll be the ones who learn the fastest. One of the most valuable skills you can adopt and develop today is the ability to keep learning because the half life of knowledge is shrinking. What you learned in your first year at uni may already need updating by the time you graduate. So, some of the skills I would want you to pay close attention to, and you're gonna get practical about this, is this. If you're wondering where to start, here are some skills that consistently appear in graduate job descriptions across HR, business, finance, marketing, technology, and operations. Skill number one: Microsoft Excel. Many graduates underestimate Excel, yet employers use it every single day for budgeting, payroll, data cleaning, reporting, scheduling, recruitment tracking. If you can provide confidently use formulas, pivot tables, charts, lookups, and data analysis tools, you're already ahead of many applicants in the pool. Skill number two, Power by Eye. Data tells stories, and Power by Eye helps you visualize those stories. Imagine walking into an interview and saying, I created a dashboard showing employee turnover trends during my attachment. That's memorable and commendable. So if you can't, then it's a bit tricky. Skill number three is AI tools. Artificial intelligence isn't replacing anyone or everyone, but professionals who know how to use AI effectively are going to become more productive. So learn how to draft documents, summarize reports, analyze information, brainstorm ideas, improve presentations, organize research, because the goal isn't to let AI think for you. The goal is to let AI help you work smarter and efficiently using your own human skill plus an AI. Skill number four is HR information systems, that is HRIS. If you're studying HR, become familiar with systems used in modern workplaces. Even if you don't have access to enterprise softwares, understanding concepts such as employee records, leave management, recruitment workflows, and performance management will give you confidence during interviews, and it will help you become at a higher advantage compared to your peers. Skill number five is Canva. Presentation matters, and whether you're creating a CV, a LinkedIn banner, or a project presentation, design skills will help you communicate professionally and will show that you are somebody who has upskilled. Skill number six you can learn is project management. Every organization runs projects. Understanding planning, timelines, teamwork, risks, management, and even accountability will make you more valuable regardless of your field. Skill number seven, data analysis. Data proven or data driven decision making is becoming standard across industries. And being comfortable in interpreting data, not just collecting it and putting it there, will make you become set apart compared to the rest. Number eight skill you can learn is digital marketing. Even if you're not pursuing marketing, understanding digital communication, social media strategy, and online engagement is increasingly valuable because every professional now has a digital footprint. Let's look at a Kenyan example. Imagine two HR graduates applying for the same role in Nairobi. Both have similar academic performance. One says, I studied human resource management and leaves it at that. The other says, I studied human resource management, completed an advanced Excel certification, built a Power by Eye dashboard, analysis recruitment metrics during my industrial attachments, and used AI tools to streamline report writing. Between the two, who sounds more prepared? Definitely, the second candidate has shifted the conversation from only qualifications to capability. And that's the difference intentional skill building makes. As we even upskill, let's avoid some of these mistakes because there are going to be some traps. Trap number one, collecting certificates without practicing the skills. Trap number two, learning everything at once instead of mastering one skill deeply. Trap number three, watching tutorials without completing projects. Number four, assuming classroom assignments are enough. And number five, waiting until after graduation to start learning. Remember this, learning is only valuable when it changes what you can do. And this is how you can implement this. You don't need 8 hours a day to learn all this. You only need to be consistent. Learn one skill one day. You can pick like a Monday, learn one new concept. Tuesday, practice it. Wednesday, build something small from what you've learned. Thursday, share what you learned. Friday, reflect on what worked. Saturday, improve your project. What didn't work? Then on Sunday, review and plan the next skill you can learn in the following week. And 1 hour a day, 7 hours a week, that's 350 hours in a year. Imagine where you'll be after 3 hours, 350 focused and intentional hours of learning. You will be a totally different person. Habit number two, build your professional brand every day. Let's imagine something together. Tomorrow morning, a recruiter receives your application. She likes your CV and she thinks this candidate looks promising. And she does what most recruiters all over the world are doing. She searches your name online. What does she find? Silence, old Facebook photos, random TikTok videos, maybe an empty LinkedIn profile, or does she find someone who looks like a future ready professional? That question is becoming more important every single day, every month, in, out, and every year. Because today you don't just have a reputation, you have a digital reputation. And whether you build it intentionally or ignore it, you're building one every single day. And your brand is basically what people say about you when you're not in the room. But your digital brand is what Google says about you before you enter the room. A lesson I have learned from being on the recruiter's desk is this. Over the years, I've reviewed hundreds of CVs, interacted with some, seen some, and sometimes you might find two candidates who have similar identical qualifications, same degree, same graduation year, same grades, similar internship experience. But then, if you search both candidates' names online, candidate 1, nothing. Candidate 2 has a polished LinkedIn profile, professional photographs, articles they've written, volunteer experience, recommendations from lecturers, a portfolio, certificates, projects they've done, thoughtful career posts, and between the candidates, which candidate appears more prepared? Obviously, candidate two, because she appears or the candidate appears more intentional. They seem genuinely interested in the profession they are in. And it's not because they are necessarily smarter, it's because they've made their value visible. And visibility matters because visibility pays more than an invisible person. So, what is a professional brand? Many students hear the word personal branding and immediately think, I need thousands of followers. No, personal branding isn't becoming an influencer or a socialite. It's about becoming discoverable. Think of your professional brand as your career story. Every LinkedIn post, every project, every volunteer experience, every recommendation, every article you read, every professional conversation you have, they are all chapters in that one story you are writing. And the question is your story convincing enough that someone would want to hire you? And LinkedIn is no longer optional if you are intentional about building your career. So let's talk about it. Some students think LinkedIn is just another social media platform. It isn't. It's the world's largest professional networking platform, and thousands of recruiters use it every single day to search for candidates they want. Think about that. While you're waiting to apply, a recruiter might already be searching for someone in the role you want, but they can't find someone who doesn't exist. That's why I tell students, if you're serious about your career, your LinkedIn profile is no longer optional. It's your digital CV, your networking platform, and your personal marketing tool, all in one place. And these are 5 things every LinkedIn profile should have. Number one, a professional photo. Number two, a compelling headline. Number three, a strong about section. Number four, skills and certifications. And lastly, number five, experience, projects, and volunteering. And here's something many graduates never hear. Recruiters don't always search by university. Mm-mm. Sometimes they search by skills. Imagine a recruiter typing Excel, Power BI, recruitment, graduate trainee. Will your profile appear or will you remain invisible? Now let's go beyond LinkedIn. Do you understand why you need to have a portfolio? One of the fastest ways to stand out in today's workplace is to build a portfolio, especially if you are a fresh graduate. Your portfolio says, don't just believe me, let me show you. And these are some of the things that can go into your portfolio. If you're in HR, include recruitment plans, interview guides, employee engagement records that you've designed, proposals, HR analytics dashboards, policy samples you've prepared, case studies you've done, training presentations, and even performance metrics you've conducted. If you're studying marketing, show campaigns, content calendars, brand strategies, designs that you've done. If you're in finance, share dashboards, forecasts, Excel, financial models, business analysis. And if you're in IT, show applications that you've interacted with, websites you've done, codes you've done, projects, GitHub, GitHub repositories. And remember, evidence beats promises. Don't tell employers what you can do. Wait, you can show them. So show them, build your own portfolio. And from a recruiter's insights, let me tell you something very, very interesting. When recruiters see candidates consistently learning, like you have self drive to learn, we often assume those candidates will continue learning after they are hired. And that's a plus because today's workplace changes quickly. Companies don't only hire for today's job, they hire for tomorrow's potential, tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's stars. And will you be one of those persons that they will hire? Lastly, let's talk networking. Branding isn't just online, it's also relational. How are you relating with your lecturers, supervisors, managers, classmates, alumni, industry professionals, guest speakers you've met, conference attendees you've attended, and learn that every interaction leaves an impression. Treat every conversation you have as an opportunity to build trust. You never know who might recommend you 2 years from now. You never know who might be in that room, who might be your own destiny helper to connect you to the next opportunity you want. Habit number three, apply strategically, not randomly. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had someone proudly say, I've applied for over 300 jobs? Maybe you've even said it yourself. At first, it sounds impressive. 300 applications, surely one of them should have led to a massive interview. But then comes the surprising reality shock. 300 applications, only two responses. No interview, or even once, no response at all. Why? Because applying for jobs is not a numbers game. It's a strategy game. And unfortunately, many graduates mistake activity for progress. Sending 50 generic applications feels productive, right? But productivity isn't measured by how many applications you send. It's measured by how many interview invitations you get to receive at the end of the day after making the applications. And let me take you behind the recruitment process. Imagine hiring for a graduate HR assistant position. Within a week, an HR recruiter receives 480 applications. 470 have nearly identical CVs. 300 use the exact same career objectives. 200 of them have obvious spelling mistakes. 150 don't even meet the minimum requirements for the position. And many applicants haven't tailored their CVs to their role. Now imagine yours, it arrives. It clearly reflects the job description. It highlights relevant coursework. It showcases internship achievements, demonstrates measurable and commendable results. It uses keywords from the vacancy announcement. Immediately, you've made the recruiter's job easier and they remember candidates who make their job easier. The reason why random applications fail is because many graduates think if I apply everywhere, eventually something will work. Mm-mm. Let's compare job applications to medicine. If a doctor prescribed the same medication to every patient, regardless of their illness, will you trust that doctor again? Of course not. Every diagnosis is different, and the same principle applies to job applications. Every employer has different priorities, different values, different expectations, different challenges. So, why would the same CV you send work for every role? It's so obvious it's not going to work. And let's understand something an invisible gatekeeper most of you haven't learned about the applicant tracking system. Many graduates fear, but few truly understand what this is. So, an applicant tracking system, commonly known as ATS, think of it as a digital receptionist. Before a human recruiter even sees your CV, an ATS may organize, filter, or rank applications based on the information provided. Its purpose isn't to reject people unfairly, it's to help recruiters manage large volumes of applications efficiently. So, how do you increase your chances of making it through? Number one, by making your CV easy to read and closely aligned with the job description. Here is an ATS CV checklist I want you to have. Number one, clear headings. Two, simple formatting. Three, relevant keywords. Number four, professional fonts. Five, consistent dates. And lastly, number six, standard file format. PDF if requested. And common ATS mistakes most of us are making is using fancy graphics, using text hidden inside images, unnecessary text box or text or tables, generic job titles that don't even explain your experience, ignoring keywords from the job description or advertisement, and lastly, uploading the wrong document. Remember, your goal isn't to trick the system, it's to make your qualifications easy to understand and identify by the ATS tool. And I would want you to learn the power of tailoring your CV. The biggest career myth most of us know is that one CV fits all. It doesn't. Your CV is a marketing document, and every marketing campaign is designed for a specific audience. Let's imagine you're applying for an HR internship, a sales graduate trainee role, a project coordinator position. Should the emphasis in your CV remain exactly the same? No. Your experiences may be the same, but the way you present them should reflect the needs of each employer according to the role you're applying to. For an HR role, you might highlight recruitment support, administrative coordination, people skills. For a project management role, you might emphasize on planning, organizing, teamwork, and meeting deadlines. The content remains truthful, the focus becomes relevant, and don't change your story. Change the parts of your story that matter most to the employer you are speaking to. Be yourself, be authentic, even when you're applying to the jobs. I'll teach you the 80-20 rule of job searching. Many candidates or graduates spend 80% of their time applying and 20% only preparing. Successful candidates often do the reverse of it. They spend time researching companies, understanding their role, improving their CVs, practicing interview responses, building relevant skills. Then they apply with intention. The results? Few applications, better outcomes. So, which one are you? Are you the one who uses 80% to only apply for jobs and 20% strategy, or are you the vice versa? I'd want you to know this. Before you click the submit button, ask yourself, what does this company do? What values does it emphasize? What skills are repeatedly mentioned in the job advert? And what challenges might this role solve? How can my experiences demonstrate that I can contribute? These 5 minutes of research can transform an average application into a compelling one. And recruiters can often tell when a candidate understands the organization and when they've simply copied and pasted an application. Here is a real life example. Imagine two candidates applying for the same HR assistant role. Candidate A sends a generic CV listing responsibilities such as assisted in recruitment, filed documents, helped with payroll, etc. Candidate B writes coordinated interviews, scheduling for 25 candidates during industrial attachment, improved document organization, reducing file retrieval time, assisted in preparing monthly HR reports using Microsoft Excel. Notice the difference? The second candidate demonstrates impact, not just activity. And employers don't just want to know what you did, they want to know the value you created. Now that you found a suitable opportunity, you've researched the whole company, you've understood what they are, you've tailored your CV, you've written targeted cover letters, clicked the submit button. Now what next? For many graduates, they assume that the process ends here. Not really. And they end up waiting. They refresh their email every day, every hour, every minute, every second. Check their WhatsApp constantly, hoping the phone rings. Then 2 weeks passed. Nothing. A month later, still nothing. Eventually, they conclude I wasn't good enough for the role. But here's the truth. Professional job seekers don't just apply. They manage their job applications. They search like a project. Build an application tracker. And this is one of the habits that separate organized candidates from overwhelmed ones in maintaining an application tracker. It doesn't have to be complicated. A simple spreadsheet is enough. You just need to create columns for company name, positions you've applied for, the date you applied, the application deadline for the job or role you've applied into, and the contact person if available for the role, interview date, follow up date, current status, notes and reflections. And this is important because when you are applying to multiple roles, details sometimes blur or you might even forget. Imagine if you receive a phone call like this: hello, would like to interview for the graduate trainee position you applied for. If you can't remember the company or role you applied into, you will lose the confidence before even the interview begins because you're not even sure which role that was. An application tracker will help you keep uh, your application process organized, prepared, and professional. Also, something else you need to know, you need to follow up professionally. Let's answer a common question. Should you follow up after applying? The answer is sometimes yes. But the timing and professionalism matters a lot. If the employer has provided a timeline, respect it. If no timeline is given, a polite follow up after a reasonable period of, let's say, 7 days, can demonstrate genuine interest. A simple message to the employer might express appreciation for the opportunity, reaffirm your interest in the role, and ask whether there are any updates regarding the recruitment process. Notice what it does not do. It doesn't demand an answer. You shouldn't even put pressure on the recruiter and you shouldn't sound entitled. Professionalism is remembered. Even when the answer is not this time, they will share with you the opportunities that arise next time. And a recruiter's secret I've learned is many candidates don't realize this. Sometimes the first choice candidate may decline an offer. Sometimes they may fail a background check. They might not even show up, and the recruiter often returns to the shortlist. Imagine if they remember you as the candidate who followed up. Professionalism instead of the candidate who sent 5 impatient emails in 3 days. Your reputation begins long before your first day at work. And one thing I want you to know is persistent opens doors, but professional persistence keeps them open. Something else we need to learn and talk about is rejection, because almost every candidate or job application candidate or graduate experience it. And I know rejection hurts. You have invested time, hope, energy, then you receive that word email. We regret to inform you. Or sometimes you receive nothing at all. It's total silence. But here's the perspective that changed my own approach to careers. Every application has two possible outcomes. You either receive an opportunity or you receive information. Information about where you need to grow. Maybe your CV needs improvement. Maybe another candidate had more experience than you. Maybe your interview skills need work. Or maybe the organization posts the hiring process. Don't allow rejection to define your identity. Allow it to refine your strategy. And stop applying out of desperation, because this is a mistake and I often see it as panic applying. A student becomes anxious, they apply for everything that comes their way: HR roles, marketing, finance, engineering, customer service, receptionist, procurement, marketing, without even a strategy. No, there's nothing wrong with being flexible, but there is something absolutely wrong with applying for roles you haven't taken time to understand or prepare for. And employers notice when an application feels disconnected from the position. Instead, define your target. Ask yourself, what industry excites me the most? What entry level roles fits my strengths at the moment? And which organization aligns with my values? Which skills do I still need to develop to get to the desired role? And once you get this direction, you will create momentum and quality over quantity. I want to challenge a belief that many graduates have. They think that success comes from applying to hundreds of vacancies. Mm-mm. Instead, ask yourself, how many excellent applications did I submit this week? 5 high quality applications often outperform 50 rushed ones. And each application should make or should communicate: I understand the organization, I understand this role, I have prepared intentionally, I am ready to contribute. And that's what employers want to see. They don't want to see a rushed decision or desperation in your application. And let's briefly discuss the cover letters and how powerful they can be. Many graduates either ignore them or copy generic templates from the internet. A great cover letter isn't a summary of your CV, it's a bridge. It connects your experiences to the employer's needs. Imagine opening with something like this: the organization commitment to developing young talent immediately captured my attention because it aligns with my passion for building people focused workplaces. Immediately, you've shown you've done your research, and being specific builds credibility. From a recruiter's perspective, recruiters don't expect graduates to know everything. They expect graduates to demonstrate curiosity, preparation, and professionalism, as well as authenticity. Those qualities often outweigh years of experience because technical skills can be taught. Attitude is much harder to teach. And when you're making your applications, I want you to avoid these mistakes or pitfalls. Number one, sending the same CV everywhere. Number two, ignoring the job description. Number three, applying without proofreading. Number four, missing application deadlines. Number five, forgetting where you've applied. Number six, giving up after a few rejections. Number seven, waiting passively after submitting an application. And lastly, number eight, assuming silence always means failure. Professional job seekers learn, adapt, improve, and repeat. Habit number 4, expand your network before you even need it. Let me begin this section with a question. How many people know your name? Professionally, that is. Not your classmates, not your cousins, not your family, not your WhatsApp contacts, not your besties. I mean, people working in the industry you hope to join in. Is it like for me? I'm in HR. Are and if you are a HR graduate or a HR student, do you know HR managers who know you, recruiters, business leaders, alumni, mentors, like professionals who could one day think there's a graduate I know who would be perfect for this opportunity. If that number is very small, don't worry, because today we are going to change that. Because one of the biggest myths graduates believe is this: I'll start networking after I get a job or after graduation. But networking works best before you need it. Think about it like this: Imagine trying to dig a well after your house catches fire. It's already too late. And relationships works the same way. The strongest professional networks are built before they are an urgent need. And your network is your career ecosystem. The people you know, the people who know you, and the reputation you've built with them, that matters a lot. Let's look at this story of the two graduates you've spoken about. Let's go back to Brian and Amina. Remember them? Yeah. Both graduated with similar grades, both were intelligent, but there was one major difference. Brian believed opportunities were found online and they would find him. So every day he refreshed job boards. He waited for vacancies to appear. He waited for people to see his great credentials. Amina, on the other hand, also applied online, but every month she attended a webinar, she introduced herself to speakers, she joined professional associations, she volunteered at HR events, she reached out to alumni, asked thoughtful questions, stayed in touch, and 6 months later, an HR manager from an event she had attended remembered her. A lecturer recommended her for a graduate program. An alumni forwarded her a vacancy before it was even publicly advertised. Did networking guarantee her success? No. But it increased the number of doors she could knock on. And in careers, more meaningful doors often lead to more meaningful opportunities. And your network doesn't replace competence, it multiplies the visibility of your competence. Your network is your net worth. So, what networking really is? Let's clear up a misconception. Networking isn't collecting business cards or contacts. Networking is not sending random messages asking for jobs. And networking is not pretending to know people. Networking is the process of building genuine professional relationships based on curiosity, respect, and mutual value. Think of networking like planting trees. You don't plant a tree today expecting it to give you fruits tomorrow or shade tomorrow. You plant it because you know one day it will grow. And professional relationships work exactly the same way. And where should you network? Many students believe networking only happens at expensive conferences. Not true. Opportunities to build your network are everywhere. You can network number one on LinkedIn. Every week, connect with professionals in your field. And don't just click connect. Introduce yourself. Mention something you learned from their work or from reviewing their profiles. Express genuine appreciation, and people will remember the authenticity you had and who you said you will be after you connected with them. Number two, you can connect with university alumni. Your alumni network is one of the most underused career resources. These are people who once sat where you sit today. They understand the journey, they understand the process, and many are willing to help if you approach them respectively. So reach out with curiosity, not entitlement. Instead of asking, "Can you get me a job?" try asking, "I'd love to learn about your career journey. Would you be willing to share a few insights?" That's a conversation starter, not a request for a favor. And once you connect with them meaningfully, you never know, they might help you unlock doors you never knew. Thirdly, a place you can network, professional association. If you're an HR student, join HR association in your local chapters or even the Kenya HR Student Association. Attend webinars, volunteer during events, participate in discussion. And professional bodies don't just build knowledge, they build visibility. And visibility creates the opportunities in the hidden job market. Place number 4 to network, conferences and career fairs. Don't just attend to collect brochures. Attend to start conversation. Prepare 3 to 10 questions before you arrive. Introduce yourself confidently. Follow up afterwards. And you never know, one meaningful conversation may be worth more than collecting 20 business cards from that one event you attend in. Place number 5 you can network it is doing volunteering activities. And one of the fastest ways to expand your network is to serve. Volunteer at conferences, community projects, student leadership initiatives, professional events. And when people work with you, they experience your professionalism firsthand. That's far more powerful than reading it on your CV. And every conversation is an opportunity to build trust for you and even for your career. And this is something I want you to learn. Powerful informational interviews, not just normal job interviews. And this is one of the strategies that many successful professionals use today. Informational interview aren't job interviews, they're learning conversations. Imagine reaching out to an HR business partner and you ask, "I am a final year HR student exploring career paths. Would you be open to a 20-minute conversation about your journey and advice for graduates?" Notice what you're asking for: wisdom, not direct employment. You're asking for wisdom. And people are often far more willing to share experiences than promise you jobs. And here's the surprising part: sometimes those conversations naturally lead to opportunities you never knew existed. And from a recruiter's perspective and insight, I want to tell you something many hiring managers appreciate. When a candidate has taken time to understand an industry before applying it, it shows they ask better questions. They demonstrate curiosity, understand the business challenges, and networking will help you gain that understanding. It's not about who you know, it's about what you learn from the people you know and the people who know you. And I would want you to build a reputation, not just collect contacts. Let's look at it in this way. Imagine you attend 5 networking events. At each, you introduce yourself professionally, you ask thoughtful questions, listen carefully, follow up with gratitude. And now imagine someone asks one of those professionals 6 months later, "Do you know any promising HR graduates?" Will they remember your name? That's the goal. Networking isn't measured by the number of contacts or connections on LinkedIn that you have. It's measured by the number of people who would confidently recommend you. People may forget your CV, but they will rarely forget how you made them feel. I'll teach you something I use for myself: the 70-20-10 networking rule. Here's a practical approach you can also use. 70% of your networking conversations should be all about learning, 20% sharing your own experiences, and 10% asking for guidance or opportunities. Why? Because people enjoy conversations that feel genuine and not transactional. And networking doesn't require hours, it only requires consistency. How consistent are you even at these events? And these are some of the networking mistakes I would want you to avoid. Number one, only networking when I'm unemployed. Number two, asking strangers for jobs immediately you connect. Number three, talking more than listening. Number four, never following up. Number five, ignoring student associations. Number six, forgetting people's names. Number seven, treating networking as manipulation and not a relation. And lastly, failing to add value. Remember, relationships are built on trust, and trust takes time to build. Yay! Habit number five, become the person employers want to hire. And this is the last and final habit we're going to talk about today. And if you stayed with me this far, first of all, thank you so much because this habit ties everything together. You can have the skills, you can have a polished LinkedIn profile, a tailored CV perfectly. You can even know hundreds of professionals. But if you lack character, eventually someone will notice. And here's a truth I've learned after some years in HR and even attending events and all this. Companies hire skills, they promote attitude, they retain character, they think about that. When organizations recruit graduates, they understand something important. You may not know everything yet at the moment. That's expected, and they can train you. They can teach you their systems, explain their processes, and what is much harder to teach is integrity, discipline, respect, emotional maturity, professionalism, ownership. Those qualities become your competitive advantage. And employers won't just ask, can this person do the job? No, they will also ask, can we trust this person? Are they willing to learn? Can they work with others? Can they represent our organization how we would want it to be represented? And are they people who can grow with us? And a lesson I have learned from an interview panel, I will share with you as a story. Several years ago, I sat on an interview panel for a graduate trainee position, and one candidate had only exceptional academic qualifications. That is, excellent grades, strong technical knowledge, answered almost every technical question correctly. And another candidate had good, not as exceptional good grades as the other, but throughout the whole interview, they demonstrated something different. They listened carefully, they admitted when they didn't know something, and they explained how they had solved challenges during universities. They communicated respectively, smiled naturally, they even asked thoughtful questions. They showed curiosity, and when the interview ended, the panel reached at a unanimous decision. Obviously, we went with the second candidate. Why? Because we weren't just hiring for today's tasks, we were hiring for tomorrow's leader. And technical skills got them into the room. Their character convinced us to offer them the role. Not just their grades only mattered, even their attitude mattered the most. And your CV gets the interview, your character gets the offer. And let's look at some of the 8 characters I would want you to cultivate today. Quality number one, discipline. Let's begin with discipline because discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when no one is watching. And employers notice disciplined people. These are people who arrive on time, they meet deadlines, prepare before meetings, follow up instructions, finish what they start. And discipline creates trust, and trust creates responsibility. So ask yourself today, if someone gave you an important project tomorrow, would your current habits convince them you could handle it perfectly and in a disciplined manner? Quality number two, communication. And communication is more than just speaking, it's also listening, writing clearly, responding professionally, explaining ideas simply, and giving and receiving feedback. So imagine two graduates. Both have the same technical knowledge. One communicates confidently, and the other struggles to even explain the simplest ideas. Who is more likely to lead a project? And who is more likely to represent the company in front of clients? So, communication multiplies your competence. Never stop improving it. So, practice presentations, join discussions, ask questions, read regularly, write professionally. Every conversation is practice. Practice makes perfect. So, keep practicing your communication skills daily. Quality number three, emotional intelligence. And here's a phrase you'll hear more often in the modern workplace. Emotional intelligence, sometimes called EQ, may help the IQ, that is intelligent quotient, may help you solve problems. But emotional intelligence helps you solve problems with people. Can you stay calm under pressure? Can you receive criticism without becoming defensive? Can you disagree respectively? Can you understand another person's perspective? And can you work with people from different backgrounds? Today's workplace are increasingly collaborative, and your ability to work well with others may become just as valuable as your technical skills. And how you relate with them also matters. And people will remember how you made them feel long after they even forget what you say, even after they've forgotten your name, but they will still remember how you made them feel. Quality number four, leadership. Many students believe leadership begins after promotion or after getting a title. It doesn't. And leadership begins with responsibility. Did you organize a class project? Did you lead a student association? Could you coordinate volunteers, mentor young students, solve a problem no one asked you to solve? That's leadership. And leadership isn't about titles, it's about influence. And employers notice graduates who step forward rather than waiting to be told what to do. So, are you even a leader to yourself before you become a leader to others? Quality number five, professionalism. And professionalism is reflected in the little things. Responding to emails politely, being punctual, dressing appropriately, respecting confidentiality, taking responsibility for mistakes, keeping your promises, treating everyone with respect, from the receptionist to the CEO. And professionalism is consistency. You don't switch it on during interviews. You live it every single day of your life. Quality number six, problem solving. Every organization exists to solve problems. So ask yourself, when you enter a room, do you bring more problems or do you bring solutions? And one habit that distinguishes exceptional graduates is curiosity. Instead of saying, "That's not my job," they ask, "How can I help?" Instead of waiting for instructions, they identify opportunities to improve processes. And employers remember people who make work easy in their organizations compared to only people who were there for them to solve maybe the attachment and go, and that was it. Quality number seven, integrity. And this one cannot be negotiated. Integrity means doing the right thing even when it costs you. Don't exaggerate your experience. Don't lie during interviews, and don't claim projects you never completed. Don't copy someone else's portfolio. And trust takes years to build, and it might take seconds to destroy. So your reputation follows you long after graduation. So protect it and retain your integrity levels high. Quality number eight, and the last one, time management. Time management isn't about being busy, it's about being intentional. And successful graduates schedule learning, networking, applications, exercise, rest, reflection. They don't leave important things to chance. And remember, your calendar reflects your priorities. If your goals aren't on your calendar, they are probably just wishes. So be time conscious. You can even use time blocking. And the professional every employer wants in their organizations today is someone who is disciplined, reliable, curious, respectful, adaptable, ethical, collaborative, growth oriented, and somebody with a learning mentality. And if this isn't you, I ain't sure. So the 1% rule I would want you to know is imagine improving by just 1% every day. One better conversation, one better presentation, one new skill, one new connection, one chapter of a book, one interview question practice, one thoughtful LinkedIn post. Tiny improvement might seem invisible today, but over a year, they become transformational experiences. And success is rarely one giant breakthrough, it's hundreds of small decisions repeated consistently. I like to leave this here as I conclude. A message to the student who feels behind. Maybe you're watching this thinking, I wish I'd started earlier. Let me encourage you today. The best time to begin was when you entered university. But the second best time to start is today. Employers aren't looking for perfectionists or perfectionism. They're looking for potential, growth, coachability, resilience. And if you begin building these habits now, you'll surprise how much change in the next 6 months or 3 months you can make. So start today. Be intentional about your growth, be curious to learn, and give yourself room to expand even to growth opportunities. So pause this video if you need to. Take out your notebook, write down 3 words that describe the professional you want to become today. Not the job you want, but the person you want to become. Because careers are built from the inside out. Then share one of those words in the comment. Let's inspire each other today. And now let's bring everything together. My final takeaways. Your degree matters, and never let anyone tell you otherwise. It represents years of sacrifice, discipline, and perseverance. But in today's workplace, your degree gets you invited into the conversation. Your habits determine how that conversation ends. And think back to Brian and Amina at the beginning of this masterclass. They looked almost identical, same university, same qualification, same ambition, but their daily habits created very different futures. Brian waited for opportunity, Amina prepared for the opportunity. Brian hoped employers would notice him, Amina gave employers reasons to notice her. And the difference wasn't intelligence, it was intentionality. And that's the invitation I want to leave with you today. Don't wait for graduation to become employable, become employable before graduation. Don't wait for confidence before taking action. Action creates confidence. And don't wait until someone believes in you. Start becoming someone worth believing in. Build yourself today, brick by brick, precept upon precept, and one step at a time. Knowing that your degree opens the door, your daily habits determine whether you walk through it and whether that door stays open. You got this. So subscribe to our channel and share this masterclass content with someone in your circle, maybe a friend, a classmate, a niece, a nephew, a trainer, or anyone you think this message might be able to encourage them today and support them in their career growth. And feel free to reach out to me on all channels, especially on LinkedIn at Mary Muraya, where we can connect more, learn more, and train each other more. Also, join us every Thursday for our webinar series, Mary Muraya Career Lab webinar series, and we'll be having them as live recordings every Thursday, and we'll be sharing the live recordings on Fridays. So, thank you so much. See you on the next series.